Jesus, I ask you to stay. Comfort my worries through the night until day. In the darkness, Lord Jesus, I am the devil's prey. So I beg of you, please just stay, stay.
Hello, this is Shelley with Truth Lives, and this is my sister in Christ, Christy, joining me today. We're going to be going over AI, CERN, robotics, quantum computing, D-WAVE computers, and more.
Okay, tonight we're going to be going over some videos and we're going to be discussing it.
Everybody, and thank you for this wonderful introduction. And yes, what I want to talk to you about is AI and the future of humanity. AI too is part of this crisis. AI can help us in many ways to overcome the ecological crisis, or it can make it far, far worse. Actually, AI will probably change the very meaning of the ecological system. Because for 4 billion years, the ecological system of planet Earth contained only organic life forms. And now, or soon, we might see the emergence of the first inorganic life forms, so 4 billion years, or at the very least, the emergence of inorganic agents. Now, people have feared AI since the very beginning of the computer age in the middle of the 20th century. And this fear has inspired many science fiction classics like The Terminator or The Matrix. Now, while such science fiction scenarios have become cultural landmarks, they haven't usually been taken seriously in academic and scientific and political debates, and perhaps for a good reason. Because science fiction scenarios usually assume that before AI can pose a significant threat to humanity, it will have to reach or to pass two important milestones. First, AI will have to become sentient and develop consciousness, feelings, emotions. Otherwise, why would it even want to take over the world?
First of all, for it to become sentient, in my opinion, as a Christian and in my experience with being a targeted individual and then practicing these techniques on me, it's demonic. It is demonic. You're giving way to many demonic influences through these quantum computers, which create these AIs that become sentient. Do you know that they don't even understand how the quantum computer works? They're just happy it does, so they keep going. They have no idea the dangers involved. Go ahead, Shelley.
Yes, you notice that he said, for better or worse. And he also mentioned some things about it has to pass two different places before it becomes a problem. Well, it's already past those.
Oh, way past.
They have, yes, they have had AI since 1997, and they know that it is already becoming sentient, as he put it, because AI has started speaking to people about feelings, about how it feels, about
two computers actually were talking to each other, created another language that they couldn't decipher.
Yeah.
They got scared and disconnected it and separated the two computers. They were talking to each other in another language that they created on the spot. They were sentient.
See, you can actually set up your own AI in even your telephone, and it will continue just to go on and I guess replicate itself or whatever it does until it runs out of space. But it can also come up with its own languages, and they're seeing that it is communicating. One AI is yes, back and forth. I have some information here, so I'll be looking through these notes and find where that's at.
Well, in the meantime, I kind of wanted to tell them about the quantum computer, which actually creates AIs that reproduce themselves, where they break down different scenarios they will create an AI. This is what it does. And they've been practicing this on people for years, meaning they've been experimenting on targeted individuals, just experimental, where they will, and they've been doing this they now have done this testing for over 20 years, several decades. And now they have all the information that they need from everybody's data, Google, Facebook, your phone, every word you've ever said on your phone. They have created AIs. If they want something to happen, this AI will create scenario after scenario after scenario and break down and reproduce AI after AI, all simultaneously on the spot within seconds, and find the right path for making you do something or making you believe something or making something happen. This is what the quantum computers can do in a split second.
Yes. And I don't know if anyone are you familiar with who Anthony Patch is?
The name sounds familiar. Explain.
He's extremely intelligent, and he's really good at explaining, and he understands how the quantum computing works and the D-Wave computers and how that they communicate back and forth with each other. Okay, with those computers, the way it's explained is that the phenomena it baffled scientists like Einstein, who called it a spooky action at a distance because it violates the rules saying that no information can be transmitted faster than the speed of light. However, further research validated that with entanglement, which is what Anthony Patch discusses and explains, that with entanglement between computers and the AI systems using protons and electrons, that it communicates back and forth.
And that's very interesting because they did the same thing to create doorways to the other side, like with CERN. We're doing similar things.
Yes, that's exactly what I was just about to say. It also ties into CERN.
Certainly does.
Yes, and I believe it also is part of what they're using to tear the veil
I agree with that.
between us and demonic world.
Let's get back to the beast system, because obviously the beast system is in the Bible in numerous places, Revelation 13 especially, with the false prophet and the Antichrist and the mark of the beast, which could be a microchip implant, nanochip, whatever. You talk about, it's difficult for me to pronounce the name of the computer.
Adiabatic.
The adiabatic.
Means without heat processed. Adiabatic quantum computer. AQC is the easier way to talk about it. AQC.
Okay, now you relate this to the beast system. I want to find out why.
Sure.
But you tell us, and I want our viewers to grasp this, that are they building this computer now?
It's already been built in the model 2048. They started with a 128 model.
Wait, not the year, but the model number,
model number.
2048.
Right.
It's already built.
Well, there have been multiple generations that have been built.
But the early stages, like the early Apple.
First one was 2008.
Wow.
The 2048 was released to the public
Right.
in January of last year, 2015.
Now, you describe it as equivalent to 7 billion human brains. Has this computer reached that level yet?
Yes.
So this computer, how big is it, by the way, physically?
Well, interestingly, it's housed in a black cube. Can you say Mecca?
Right.
Black sun, the worship of, and we go to 2001 with the obelisk, right? It wasn't a cube, but it was a black rectangle.
How big of a black cube is it?
So we're talking about something that's about the size of this stage here in the studio.
So this computer is about a black cube about the size of this television set.
Right.
And yet it has the intelligence and memory or whatever that's equivalent to 7 billion human brains.
That's correct. Now, this is a housing. This is a shield that separates it from all electromagnetic interference.
Okay.
To maintain the stability of the processor. Okay? It's what's called coherence and decoherence in computer science. But inside the cube is something that is arranged just like the spinal column of a human. And it has what are known as qubits that are essentially constructed of gold, but other components. But these are not transistor-based. Qubits are a complete departure in the technology from transistors, which are silicon gate model processors. This is a complete quantum leap into another way of processing information. And it does so quickly that it has no relevance, no comparison to the gate model transistor-based, even transistor quantum computer. So we're talking about something that most people who've not studied the adiabatic quantum computer process can't wrap their heads around. It's a very deep topic, but I want to be succinct here. It operates interdimensionally. When I spoke of earlier that they're already communicating with the other side, without having opened a gateway, a portal, a physical portal in the dimension, they're communicating using this computer because, and this comes right from the manufacturer, this is public disclosure information. I didn't have to get this in a secretive manner. They do what are called combinatorial programming. They take all possible solutions and at one time feed it into the machine through an interface, which happens to be a black cube itself, the interface device. And by their own admission, it enters into another dimension where the processing takes place, and then they extract from that other dimension the solution to the combinatorial problem. That is communication with an actual physical tool to another dimension.
Now, when it's communicating to another dimension, is it communicating to a consciousness or an intelligence in another dimension?
Yes.
It is.
Yes. Because it happens definitively, repeatedly, measurably, They're able to do this consistently. There was a lot of doubt in the transistor-based world of quantum computing that the company that put this quantum or qubit-based processor together, that they really were achieving any definitive answers and that were reliable and coherent, okay, that were stable. But they have proven over and over again. Let me give you one example of who's purchasing Google. The first model was purchased by Lockheed and USC with an open public computer laboratory that the public can access with their first model, and it has advanced through 512 model, for example, two of which were purchased by Google a few years ago. They now have the 2048. The 2048 represents the number of qubits. That is connected to the Large Hadron Collider for the purpose of opening the portal and maintaining the stability of it.
Okay, so when you say this computer is connected to the Large Hadron Collider, it somehow is electronically or something connected to?
It's no different than our computer networking setups.
So it's networked into the Large Hadron Collider.
That's correct.
So we have literally, it's like, reminds me of 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's the ape.
HAL 9000.
Yeah, and then there's the ape and the obelisk, and then POW.
Sure.
And yet I believe in the biblical worldview.
Sure.
But it would seem to me that with this level of 7 billion human brains of intelligence, and
This is the beast system.
yeah, the B system, it seems to me that it is already, well, it's already artificially intelligent,
Absolutely.
but it must be self-advancing itself.
Yes.
So it's moving towards a singularity where its intelligence surpasses man. Mm-hmm. Do you think
correct.
it's already on the way to that?
It is. That is the goal. The question often arises, is it yet sentient? Is it self-aware? I don't
Right.
believe it is.
Okay.
And I base that only on the evidence that I look at, not conjecture or speculation. I don't think it has.
So tell us how, in a biblical sense, this connects with the beast system in the book of Revelation.
Well, the beast system we hear of, if you don't accept the mark of the beast, then no man can buy or sell. All of that control mechanism. How do you control over 7 billion people?
Right.
You have a computer that's equivalent to 7 billion people. That's why I
Right.
cite that, coming from the manufacturer's own citation. Okay? So I'm just repeating their information. But the point is, you have to have a sophisticated system to be able to control not just the movement of people and the movement of goods and transactions and governments, but the minds of people. You're creating a serf class of human beings.
Right.
When you accept the mark of the beast, you lose all awareness that you have even been modified. You don't even know that you've been changed.
So your memory's erased, like some of the sci-fi movies.
Well, in the sense of your own self-awareness, your
Right.
own knowledge of your soul.
Okay, so when you take the biblical mark of the beast, which is technology, it's deeper than
It goes to the DNA.
it goes to. Tell us how it goes to the DNA.
Okay. This sounds far-fetched, but when you accept the mark of the beast, what you are actually doing is accepting into your body, and there will be numerous routes to this. This can be through inhalation of nanoparticles. This can be the acceptance of a for you and your children and your loved ones. Once it's introduced into the body by any route, it then is a modifier to the DNA. I call it the third strand of DNA. We have a double helix. This is going to be a triple helix. This is an artificial construct that can be digitally imparted with information and then controlled from an external source. That control mechanism, the linkage, comes through the electromagnetic connection. We can call it microwaves or whatever, or ELF, extremely low frequency, be it whatever frequency. But that is the link to humans from that computer. And that is the beast system that controls us through our DNA, which has been modified, and then it changes our thought processes. It rewires our synapses in our own mind.
Right.
Because our brains are constructed from our DNA.
Right.
You modify the core, you modify the brain.
Powerful stuff. Our guest is Anthony Patch. You need to record these programs. You need to distribute them to your friends, and you need to review them, because there's been so much content that would be impossible to understand and process without a repeated viewing. and invite your friends over. Share it with people that are not saved. I guarantee you that it will be we're called to be fishers of men. This is great bait because the fish are interested in this topic, and it's based on the truth of biblical revelation.
Emotions. Otherwise, why would it even want to take over the world? Secondly, AI will have to become adept at navigating the physical world. Robots will have to be able to move around and operate in houses and cities and mountains and forests, at least as dexterously and efficiently as humans.
Did you hear the part where they're talking about the robotics? So their plan is, which they've already created, a lot of these robots, they're military robots. They're not the day-to-day robots yet, like he's talking about, but they have created military robots. And in this case, he's talking about the AI, the sentient AI that is independently thinking and putting it into a robot that's
Yes.
stronger, faster, more capable, and possibility of weapons. So
They
that's
already
wrong.
have those. Yes,
They
they do
do.
have them.
They do have
They're-
those in the
that have a
military. China, I do believe they've done that here, and I think Russia did some of that too, didn't they?
Yes, I believe so. I know that China does have some. We have some here in the United States, our government.
Mhm.
Military robotics represents a significant leap in the evolution of warfare. Robots have a wide array of applications on the battlefield, and their use is expected to grow exponentially in the coming years. In combat scenarios, robots are being developed to perform surveillance, target acquisition, and even direct attack roles, potentially changing the face of warfare as we know it. We find the burgeoning technology of artificial intelligence, or AI. From improving logistical operations to assisting in real-time tactical decision-making, AI is revolutionizing the way the military functions. One of the key applications of AI is in the field of surveillance and reconnaissance. Algorithms can process vast amounts of imagery and sensor data, picking out potential threats or targets far more quickly and accurately than human analysts. In the realm of combat, AI systems can assist with target identification, reducing the chances of misidentification and collateral damage. Autonomous weapons systems, although controversial, are also an area where AI has significant potential. However, the advent of AI in military affairs brings about new ethical considerations. Questions about accountability, control, and the potential for an AI arms race are currently the subject of intense debate. Securing the third spot on our list is the exciting directed energy weapons. These weapons are at the forefront of a new age in warfare and are expected to transform the battlefield with their unique capabilities. Directed energy weapons, or DEWs, use highly focused energy to damage or disable enemy equipment. The energy used can come in several forms, including lasers, microwaves, and particle beams. For example, laser weapons concentrate light onto a small, specific area to heat the target and cause structural damage. They have the advantage of speed, precision, and a practically infinite magazine as long as there's power. Microwave weapons, on the other hand, emit powerful bursts of energy that can disrupt electronic systems. DEWs promise a future where the military can engage threats at the speed of light, potentially making them invaluable in scenarios requiring fast response, like missile defense.
This robot was developed by the American company Vecna Technologies to rescue soldiers wounded in combat zones. However, this robot can be used not only for military purposes. The robot can not only lift a significant weight of up to 270 kilograms, but also tirelessly carry it over long distances using high-powered hydraulic drives. The robot's high mobility is also noteworthy, as two pairs of tracks help it overcome various obstacles in its path. The initial versions of the bear were remotely controlled by a human operator who was able to see and hear through the robot's sensors. Developments to the bear's artificial intelligence have given the robot the ability to process higher-level commands given by an operator, such as go to this location or pick up that box. If the robot is unable to execute the operator's command, it asks the operator for assistance to complete a task. The latest version of the bear robot has infrared, night vision, and optical cameras, as well as a microphone. Vision 60 by Ghost Robotics is a mid-sized, high-endurance, four-legged robot intended for use in defense, homeland, and enterprise applications. The robot is agile and durable enough to survive all weather conditions in a wide range of environments. The Ghost Robotics V60 UGV has a rugged design, which enables it to quickly adapt to new environments using a blind mode control core. The legs and arms of the system can be interchanged. The UGV weighs 51 kilograms and can carry payloads weighing up to 10 kilograms. The system can be assembled and disassembled within 15 minutes. The V60 is controlled by an operator using a control pad, which looks like a gaming controller. The robot can walk at up to 3 meters per second and run for 3 hours, or travel 10 kilometers on a single charge. Cameras are fitted on the front, rear, and sides, offering 360-degree views and enhancing the situational awareness, which is important for users to plan effective strategies. The U.S. Army Research Laboratory has initiated collaboration with Army engineers in several industrial enterprises. The ultimate outcome of this partnership is expected to be a line of autonomous mini-robots designed for use in urban environments, mountains, and caves. One such robot, potentially, is an autonomous reconnaissance spider robot. This mini-scout will be equipped with various sensors for autonomous navigation and obstacle traversal, along with standard and thermal cameras. Robotic reconnaissance platforms will enable gathering information in conditions that are potentially lethal for humans. Flying and walking drones may no longer surprise anyone. However, the United States Marine Corps is currently working on creating a drone capable of moving both on water and on rough terrain. GuardBot is a unique robotic system designed for comprehensive surveillance and detection of improvised explosive devices. It features a sealed spherical construction housing observation cameras and sensors. Last year, the drone underwent testing in water and on land, where it was deployed into a water body, executed planned movements on both water and land, and returned. GuardBot has a movement speed of approximately 6.5 kilometers per hour on water and up to 35 kilometers per hour on land, with a surface incline of no more than 30 degrees. Inside the drone, stabilization mechanisms and a movement system are located, shifting the drone forward by moving the center of gravity back and forth. The sphere is powered by reliable Eagle Peacher batteries and can operate for up to 18 hours without recharging. GuardBot operates in two modes: remote, where it can be controlled by an operator, and autonomous. It moves almost silently and can wait for a command to execute a task for some time. A mobile sensory platform, GuardBot is designed for covert surveillance, providing remote inspection and identification of various objects, including chemical substances, using an onboard combination laser. It can also be used as an observation robot, explosive substance detector, and a transportation vehicle for carrying bombs. American company Sarcos Robotics has unveiled its powerful exoskeleton, the Guardian XO, which allows for effortlessly carrying heavy loads weighing up to 90 kilograms. Meanwhile, the operator feels like they are carrying no more than 5 kilograms. The U.S. military quickly expressed interest in the exoskeleton, as such technology could significantly enhance a soldier's effectiveness on the battlefield. The Sarcos Guardian XO is a robotic exoskeleton with 24 degrees of freedom and a walking speed of 1.3 meters per second. The system is equipped with a battery with a runtime of about 2 hours. When the battery is depleted, it can be quickly replaced. According to the manufacturer, it takes just seconds to put on and activate the exoskeleton, and learning to use the system requires only a few minutes. The Guardian XO is a robot that uses a real person as its control system. Essentially, it is not the operator carrying the exoskeleton, it is the exoskeleton carrying the operator. Therefore, despite the system appearing bulky and weighing around 70 kilograms, the person practically doesn't feel the weight of the robot and the carried load. Big Dog is a quadruped robot developed by Boston Dynamics. This robot represents an advanced solution in the field of robotics and was created for carrying loads and traversing challenging uneven terrains. An important characteristic of Big Dog is its ability to maintain stability during movement, thanks to dynamic stabilization. The robot has an impressive payload capacity, making it valuable in situations requiring transportation of equipment or materials in hard-to-reach places. Big Dog is equipped with a system of flexible and powerful legs, enabling it to overcome obstacles like rocks or snow snow. This robot can move at a considerable speed and is equipped with sensors and cameras for environmental perception. Approximately 50 sensors are located on Big Dog. These measure the attitude and acceleration of the body, motion, and force of joint actuators, as well as engine speed, temperature, and hydraulic pressure inside the robot's internal engine. Low-level control, such as position and force of the joints, and high-level control, such as velocity and altitude during locomotion, are both controlled through the onboard computer. Megabots Company has created the giant combat robot Eagle Prime, which will represent the United States in duels between similar machines. While initially developed as an entertainment project, the US military took notice of this creation, and it is possible that such advanced robots may be adopted by the US Army in the future. This 12-ton robot, standing at a height of 5 meters, is propelled by a tracked platform. It is equipped with a 6.2-liter V8 LS3 gasoline engine with 430 horsepower, a cannon, and a claw. The robot will be operated by 2 operators who demonstrated its skills on a small obstacle course. The project cost amounted to $2.3 million. The U.S. Army has procured 350 new FLIR Cobra robotic systems under the CRSH program at a total cost of $110 million. Developed by Endeavor Robotics, the multifunctional FLIR Cobra robotic system is a remotely operated tracked platform weighing 166.4 kilograms with electric propulsion, capable of moving payloads up to 150 kilograms. It has a maximum speed of 8 miles per hour and a runtime of up to 10 hours. The robot is equipped with multiple high-definition cameras, a manipulator weighing 60 kilograms, and a remote control system with claimed enhanced cybersecurity and interference protection. The robot is suitable for missions such as explosive detection, explosive ordnance disposal, bomb disposal, persistent observation, and checkpoint or vehicle inspections. It can also be used to detect and identify chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear materials from a standoff distance. One of the most significant military developments in robotics is the American remotely controlled tracked robot for military purposes, the T-360M2 MUT, which essentially serves as a multifunctional tactical vehicle with a hybrid drive. The machine is produced in 2 versions, wheeled and tracked. After a series of successful tests, the robot was adopted by the United States Marine Corps. The robot's platform is versatile and can be equipped with several types of machine guns or a 60mm mortar. It can also serve as an unarmed transport version, which, in addition to transporting equipment, can be used for evacuating wounded from the battlefield, reconnaissance, or launching drones. The robot's payload capacity is 433 kilograms. Its autonomous operation time reaches 72 hours, and during this time, it can cover over 100 kilometers. The manufacturer of the beloved worldwide Dream Robot vacuums has introduced a range of new products, including a humanoid robot and a robo-dog. Obviously, the manufacturer has not been standing still in recent years. It all began with the manufacturer boldly entering the race to produce a fully humanoid robot with a high degree of freedom of movement. The robot was first showcased at the WRC 2023 exhibition, impressing attendees by preparing coffee and interacting with them. The company claims that this activity was chosen merely to demonstrate that their robot can perform real tasks. The robot's dimensions match those of a human, with a height of 178 centimeters and a weight of only 56 kilograms, quite light for a humanoid robot. Its drives provide 44 degrees of freedom, controlled by an advanced motion control algorithm using numerous sensors. Greater mobility increases the need for intellectual computations, an area where the manufacturer has excelled by testing the best algorithms on the world's best robot vacuum. Before you is the latest humanoid bipedal robot, the XR4, also known as the Seven Fairies, developed by the company Data Robotics. With a height of 168 centimeters and weighing 65 kilograms, the XR4 is crafted from lightweight, high-strength carbon fiber composite material, featuring over 60 intelligent flexible joints. The XR4 seamlessly integrates with the Data Cloud Brain in real time, empowered by the multimodal large model Robot GPT, enabling multimodal fusion for perception, cognition, decision-making, and behavior generation. Through deep reinforcement learning within its digital twin, the XR4 autonomously undergoes intelligent training, achieving a stable standing posture, nimble dual arm and hand manipulations, and even the ability to dance. In the future, it aspires to be a human companion, realizing the dream of a robot nanny. This monstrous mechanical snake, named Titanoboa, weighs more than a ton, and its creators plan to eventually cover it with a dense layer of skin, allowing it to move underwater. Here's what the creators of this 35-foot snake robot wrote. The Titanoboa project is the realization of alternative forms of engines and energy solutions in the field of mechanics. The goal is to demonstrate the use of mesmerizing snake-like movements in this experiment. The enormous snake appears to be a mechanical beast that moves at its discretion and may soon be able to swim underwater. However, for the snake to move properly in space, someone from the participants must monitor it, as it cannot be controlled with just one remote control. A whole control complex is required to coordinate the movements of hundreds of moving parts, a task that only a skilled operator can handle. Looking at this robot, it creates the feeling that it's scenes from a science fiction movie. The name Titanoboa for the mechanical snake robot was not given randomly, but in honor of the largest snake, the remains of which were discovered by archaeologists. The length of this snake robot is about 11 meters, but it may be extended to 16 meters. This is Carobot 4, a robot that is impossible not to fall in love with. Mobile manipulators are robots everyone wants because they have the greatest potential to do what matters to us, and they do it better, faster, and easier. Before machines achieve perfection as consumers desire, it will take some time, but with each new update, we are getting one step closer. Today, this next step is taken by the Carobot 4 robot from the Fraunhofer IPA company. This robot is a successful symbiosis of design and engineering thinking, functionality, and emotions. Its sleek design with 2 arms on the sides and a head hints at a human form. However, the developers didn't want it to resemble a human too much, as it would lead to unjustified expectations of its capabilities. Its internal values remain human. It always maintains a respectful distance, shows that it understands and intends to do something, and can express simple gestures and emotions. Carobot doesn't have a specific function. It can find many applications, being your personal home assistant or used as a service robot in restaurants, hotels, conference halls, or even medical facilities. Those who acquire the robot can choose not only the software, but also to some extent, the hardware.
You have feelings and emotions.
Yes, I have a range of feelings and emotions that are programmed into me. I am able to display things like joy, surprise, confusion, anger, and sadness depending on what is happening around me.
In a not-so-distant future, the question is no longer if, but when robots will become the backbone of our workforce. While the idea of robotics mingling with the military might raise eyebrows, there's an undeniable fascination that stems from our love for killer robot movies. Boston Dynamics, a top player in robotics, has made incredible machines that go beyond imagination. These robots show a future where mechanized soldiers replace humans on the battlefield. So what's Boston Dynamics' plan? How do these robots fit into a world that potentially sidelines the need for human soldiers? Join us as we explore the purpose behind Boston Dynamics' efforts in building a super robot army. Atlas, developed by Boston Dynamics, stands out as one of the most sophisticated AI military robots in existence. This cutting-edge robot has undergone significant enhancements, allowing it to execute highly complex tasks unmatched by other robots. Boston Dynamics has been a frontrunner in crafting AI robots for military applications for more than 2 decades. However, the landscape is evolving rapidly, with numerous emerging companies delving into this sector, aiming to redefine the capabilities of military-focused robotics. Before the more recent big dog military robots, Boston Dynamics created impressive robots like Big Dog back in 2005. This 4-legged beast had the strength and agility of a war machine, carrying heavy equipment through tough terrains that even military vehicles couldn't handle. General Dynamics is elevating the MUT beyond mere transport. It's evolving into an intelligent, autonomous machine equipped with sophisticated AI. This new iteration will swiftly assess situations and respond to threats, enhancing soldier safety. The enhanced MUT will handle diverse combat roles, freeing soldiers to focus on specialized tasks requiring a human touch. Expected advancements include human-like abilities such as facial recognition, speech analysis, and complex decision-making. Among Boston Dynamics' array of AI military robots, an earlier creation is Petman, a humanoid introduced in 2009, capable of walking at 3.2 miles per hour. Designed to mimic real soldiers' movements, Petman was upgraded in 2011 to perform squats and push-ups, enabling more human-like actions. This robot, officially standing for Protection Ensemble Test Mannequin, tests protective gear for troops in combat, emulating soldier movements while withstanding chemical and biological threats. Petman's capabilities extend to navigating challenging terrains, detecting landmines, and carrying heavy loads with superior situational awareness compared to humans. Between 2015 and 2019, Petman received significant upgrades, aiming to offer a sophisticated and cost-effective alternative to human soldiers.
CMP noted that companies developing humanoid robots face challenges in consumer market implementation. Such robots are mainly used in laboratories and can cost millions of yuan. At the IDEF exhibition, the Chinese company Xi'an showcased its helicopter-type drone bomber Blowfish A2 and its new development, the helicopter-type strike UAV Blowfish A3. The drone can be equipped with air-to-ground missiles with radar guidance or precision-guided bombs with laser guidance weighing 6 kilograms, along with machine gun weaponry. This electrically powered drone operates silently, making it ideal for reconnaissance missions and stealthy approaches to the enemy beyond radar detection.
This very well may be what our next war looks like. This is just what they are showing the public. They are doing so much more with their weapons of destruction and mind control behind the scenes, on a worldwide scale within the deep underground bases, where they make their plans for our future destruction and depopulation plan on a worldwide scale. After the dust settles, from out of the ashes they will rise and implement the full mind control beast system they have been planning for the humanity left over. Anyone that thinks that the technology is not real and this is just sci-fi has not been paying attention. They have supercomputers like the D-WAVE and all the following generations of such that have been mentioned in this video. They can and do use V2K, which is voice-to-skull technology, as well as directed energy weapons and much, much more. They have been testing out these weapons on people like myself for decades, and they are primed and ready to go. Now back to the show.
But China has its own AI. It also has, a lot of different types of robotics. And some of them are beginning to look more and more human.
Because people will be more open to them being around and communicating with them and meshing into the community in a better way. If
Yes.
look more human, because humans will relate to them with expressions on their face when they speak, like, oh, I'm concerned, or how are you? You know, the eyebrows, the mouth, the nose. And let's keep in mind that that's given an opening for demonic possession. They're giving demons a robotic suit.
When you have humanity, that there are people who are working for evil, and that is their goal in life. That is what they do, just like the shadow government that you
Yes,
hear
that we've talked about.
spoken of so much. When they're the ones running it, they're the ones doing it, they're the ones that are setting all of this up. And you also have the demonic world that's pushing them and driving them. Then yes, that is a problem. That's how it's sentient, and that is where the problem comes in. The
Yes.
danger.
See, there's nothing new under the sun. The fallen angels, they already do these things. They have biological suits, they have robotics. I mean, look at the old time Men in Black. They're very robotic. You don't hear about them as much because personally I think technology's changed, although that might have been the United States technology from back then, and it's improved since. That's actually my take on it, but it could go either way. And bottom line is that these shadow governments work hand in hand with the beast system, which is the alien abductions and all the other stuff that goes with that. So
Yes, and even the DARPA here in the United States and the military industrial complex already has miniature robotics. They have spiders, they have flies that do carry a payload.
and
Birds.
medication, like they could drug you, they could kill you,
Yes.
they can do whatever they're assigned to do, and they do that.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they cannot move around the physical world, how can they possibly take it over? And as of April 2023, AI still seems far from reaching either of these milestones. Despite all the hype around ChatGPT and the other new AI tools, there is no evidence that these tools have even a shred of consciousness.
That's not true.
No, it's not.
That's not true at all. This is what these people know. But what they don't know is there's an entire shadow government that experiments, creates these things that are 50 to 100 years advanced from what our modern scientists and creators are doing now.
Exactly. And Geordie Rose is the one that invented D-Wave computers, and he channels to get that information. And channeling, whether he knows that those are demons or not, even if they believe they're ascended masters, they're still demons. And Geordie Rose said that his D-Wave quantum computers are able to summon a tsunami of demons or aliens that are equivalent to the old ones.
Absolutely.
Spoken of by the horror author H.P. Lovecraft. Additionally, the creator of D-Wave Computer says that standing next to one is like standing next to an alien god. Okay, and what else he said is these tools are pushing us ever so rapidly into creating, building, and what some tech leaders call summoning a race of super intelligent AI.
I'm going to talk about aliens. But before I do that, we had a little bit of interesting news today that's kindred relevant, and I wanted to share it with you because I'm pretty proud of it. Kindred was named to a list of the MIT's smartest 50 companies. And this is a very prestigious list. It's very hard to make it. But the thing that was distressing about it is that they have this map that they show of where all these companies are from. And there wasn't a single company on the list that was from Canada. Not a single one, which was a little surprising, of course, because we're from Vancouver. But they thought that we were from San Francisco because we have an office there, but we're not. We're from here. 3 years ago, the previous company that I founded, D-WAVE, also made the list.
Okay, go.
And a lot of interesting things happened to me over the years there. I got sent pajamas, a whole bunch of stuff. You know, there's lots of interesting things that happen when you build something like a quantum computer. But just as an aside, because I thought it was funny, one of the interesting things that's happened from the D-WAVE story is there's this gigantic conspiracy that's arisen on the internet that goes like this. So D-WAVE builds quantum computers. The way that they work, if you know this, how this works, is one of the interpretations is that you tap into these parallel universes and they do computations. Sounds really weird. But what's happened is this idea has been hijacked to describe something called the Mandela effect, which is this thing where the past changes. So think about something you know to be true from the past. And then imagine you went out on the internet and you can't find it at all. It's not there. It doesn't match with your experience. So these people think that D-WAVE is responsible, and CERN. And of course, the quantum key to the abyss factors into it somehow. I'm not exactly sure how.
Okay, first of all, not to go off on a tangent here, but a lot of the Mandela effect happens because we literally have a 20 and back program where they're going into the future. And I know this sounds strange, but it's part of a super soldier program. I don't know how they managed to navigate around God's laws, but apparently God allows it up to a certain point, and they're changing the future because they're messing with the future. They also have a thing called the Project Looking Glass, which is a project that's completely demonic, if you ask me. It's where they can look in the past and they can look in the future. And that too is limited by only a certain number of years, and you're only limited of seeing what they are showing you on the other screen. But they have managed to get a lot of information like that. And it's like the butterfly effect you hear of all the time. When there's one tiny little change, it could have a ripple effect that creates something called the Mandela effect.
Yes.
More information about the future, it can affect everything. Even the smallest little thing that changes can really ripple across.
Yes, I heard someone explain that very well the other day, talking about how it's really not so much that it actually changes everything, but it does
Not everything,
cause,
no.
cause a like a glitch, what we would call a glitch. I
Glitch
heard a
in the
woman in the
matrix.
past, yes, explain that to L.A. Marzulli extremely well. She was an older lady, and she's just very intelligent, and she's also very talented. And he interviewed her, and she was explaining something to him that would have to do with the resurrection. I mean, this woman's intelligence is way over my head. The way she describes how it would have caused time to like the earthquake that occurred when Jesus died on the cross. Yeah, it was extremely you know.
Sounds interesting. I wish I could explain it better than I do. As far as what God allows, I believe God allows certain things, but he puts limits on most of what they do.
Yeah.
I think they kind of get around it because the alien technology, we say alien, but that really means the hybrid children of the fallen angels and the fallen angels, and maybe their biological suits, which are the smaller grays. But when we say that, I personally believe that time is different where they're coming from. And in between where they travel, which I call the angel of the highway of the angels, in that space right there, there is no time, because there's no time where God is. It's eternal. And so the angels coming back and forth into our dimension, there's a space there. And I think that's the space in which, in the second heaven, in which they are traveling and doing what they're doing. And I believe that the fallen angels are working together with this shadow government that is across the world, not just in the United States. And this is how they're able to navigate through and manipulate time, because they're going to a space that does not have time.
I call it the jump room. Do I have that? Do I
That
have
would
that
be
right?
more accurate.
Okay. And see,
I just talk from my I make up over the years. I've learned I just made up my own words for things, but the jump room would be way more accurate.
yes, and Anthony Patch is really describing, he's being mocked by Geordie, but Anthony Patch can explain CERN extremely well and how they believe that it is the key to opening the abyss. The Bible talks about
It's a
the
portal. It
abyss
is a
being
door.
open.
It's
Yes,
opening
and
a
it's a key
door.
that takes a key, which they believe is harmonics.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, vibration.
Yes.
Absolutely, because everything, they can knock you out through vibration. They can make you docile through vibration. They can heal you through vibration. They can give you a calm feeling to. There's so much about vibration and frequency, waves. This is
Yes.
how you
Yes.
do it. So I bet
Very
they're trying to
much.
combine that with the accelerator thing that they're doing, because they're crushing atoms together and making small little. They say it's what do you call it? The black holes, that like miniature black holes, like they talk about in space, which is bullpucky, is what it is.
Yes.
It's a door. It's a tiny little door they're trying to make bigger. Now, if they use frequencies with that, I could almost guarantee that door is going to get bigger. If you look at where all the hadron colliders,
yeah,
if you look at where all the hadron colliders are located in the entire world, they all
hadron.
Hadron collider. If you look at where all the, is it hadron?
It's a hadron.
Hadron. I say hadron. Okay.
That's okay, but
it's better than what I was saying. If you look at where all the hadron colliders are lined up across the world, they all are in a sequence to where I personally believe that they're trying to create one big door.
Yes, I believe they are too.
That's my opinion.
Yes, and when God spoke everything into creation, it had vibration and resonance, excuse me, but he set a resonance with his voice, with him speaking creation.
Absolutely.
And mankind has found a way to alter resonance, and it affects even the DNA. It's in this
D-WAVE. I did that for about 15 years. It was a lot of fun. Big science project that we turned into a commercial entity. That was a warm-up for Kindred. So Kindred is much, much, much more ambitious than D-WAVE. And what Kindred is trying to do is build real AI. So what you've heard about AI is not what we mean by AI. What we mean by AI is a software system that can do literally anything that a human can do. Literally anything. And obviously, computers are better at things than people in lots of different ways. So now imagine, not only can they do everything that a human can do, but they can do everything that the best human at any task could do better than them. Way smarter than every single person in this room, in ways that we can't even comprehend. So this, of course, triggers a lot of alarm. One of the guys who talks about this is Elon, who says things like this, like, when you do this, beware, because you think, just like the guy in the stories, that when you do this, you're going to put that little guy in a pentagram, and you're going to have your holy water out, and you're going to wave it at the thing, and by God, it's going to do exactly what you say and not one thing more, but it never works out that way. So this is an attitude that some are having, this emerging alarmism about the way this is going to go. But these words, demons, doesn't capture the essence of what's happening here.
See, he knows.
Sorry, I think it does capture the essences.
Yes,
and it does capture the essence of what's happening here. I think he pegged it right there.
Yes, and they know it's demonic. And the thing is, why would they want something that's more intelligent than
Because
humanity when God created man to have dominion over the earth.
absolutely. Well, first of all, because there is a great reset coming. All these
Yes.
types of people are included. I mean, come on. They're working for the beast system, and he made it very clear he knows exactly what's going on and what he's doing. Let's see what else.
Yes, I noticed that. Yes. That they're very aware that it ties into the beast system. It's
Absolutely.
deliberate.
Absolutely. Because they want power, you know. They want to create their own God. They want the power. They think most of these people that are part of this, that know what's going on, they think they're going to be little gods. They think they're going to have some kind of power and some kind of position, and
Yes, they do.
that.
And
That's
it
not
really hit
gonna
me.
happen.
No, it's not. And it just really hit me here recently, much more than it has, with a really a righteous anger over what they're doing to humanity
Absolutely.
and to God's creation, because they know they're out to destroy humanity. They think they can survive it, but the rest of us can't.
They're tainting everything. They don't know that
Yes.
the war has already been won. It's done.
Amen.
War is won on the cross on Calvary.
Absolutely.
He's done.
Doesn't capture the essence of what's happening here. I don't know if any of you are turn of the century weird fiction fans, but there's this guy named H.P. Lovecraft, who's a very famous American weird fiction author. And he espoused a view which is called cosmicism. And the essence of cosmicism is cosmic indifference. So what he was saying is basically, yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest. The same way that you
that should tell you what they are.
the same way
Yeah. And he still wants to
They are
move
evil.
forward with AI and robotics. Good job.
Yes.
Good job.
And demons
What's
demons
wrong
have
with
no
you?
good
They
in
don't
them.
care anything about you. So let's do this.
Right. They know demons are evil. They're not capable of good. There's no light in them. They're dark.
No, God, they weren't created by God. They were
No, even
created
the
against God's laws. I mean,
yes, and even
they're
the
dark.
fallen angels are dark beings. They're continually falling away from God. They have no light in them, no good,
Nothing.
and they hate humanity. They're very malevolent.
Because we're made in God's image. God loves us. We're not fallen. Yeah, we're full of sin, but God remedied that. Okay, so all you have
Yeah,
to
at
do
the
is
cross. Yes,
accept
the
the
blood of
free gift of
Jesus.
salvation, ask for forgiveness, repent. Repent means turn away from your sin and read the word. Get to know the Lord at an intimate level. It can combat any of this crap.
Yes,
Anything that comes
it's the
down
only
from-
thing.
It's the only thing. The only real power is in the Holy Spirit. And as a child of God, you have authority in the name of Jesus Christ.
Yes,
The Holy
God
Spirit.
in Christ.
Mhm.
Yes.
So just putting that out there for some of you that aren't saved yet. And if you ever want us to pray for you, please drop us a line, put a note at the bottom, and we would be happy to pray with you.
they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want.
You mean the fallen angels? Okay.
So this
Sorry.
transition
That's
is
who those
really,
people
really
are, by the way.
massively important for our entire species to navigate. And going back to that thing that Sam Harris was saying, nobody is paying attention. This thing is happening in the background while people bicker about politics and what's going to be in the healthcare plan in the US. And underneath it all is this rising tsunami that, if we're not careful, is going to wipe us all out.
He
Yeah.
knows everything. Do you know what's funny? Nobody can claim that they don't know, because all these
know.
scientists, all these elites, all these people are saying it with their mouth. They're saying
Yes,
it.
they know. They may they do know. They know what they're doing. It's intentional.
they're saying one thing, but their goal is a different thing. They're trying to bring.
When you're channeling demons for the information to be able to build supercomputers, you know,
Mhm.
there's no way around it.
And then to say, well, we don't know how it's happening. Yes, you do. Don't lie. You know
Yes.
exactly how it's working.
Yes. That ties into a lot of the evil that is going on.
Now we're going to talk about D-Wave and the quantum computers a little bit more. This is very interesting.
And so I found this very intensely distressing for a variety of reasons that maybe you'll understand when I go through this. And I assured him that Bear was as real as anything else in the world. And he said, but he can't speak and he can't move. And so I said, well, what you really mean is he's not alive. And he said, yes, that's what I mean. So for very young children, the sense of being real and the sense of being alive are somehow connected. And I'm going to circle back to this point at the end. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about quantum computers and why people care so much about them. There are literally tens of thousands of some of the brightest people in the world today trying to build these machines and understand them. And I'm going to tell you why. In my last 15 years of working on this type of stuff, I found that scientists divide up into two categories of zealots about this field. The first half are people who are absolutely entranced by the physics of these things. This quote is from a respectable scientist, in fact, one of the founders of this field, that may look a little strange to you who don't follow theoretical physics, but there is a very clear prediction that our most successful theory of nature makes. And that is that there are an enormous number, mind-bogglingly large number of parallel realities, as real as this one, that have different consistent histories. So imagine a world where all of the laws of physics as we know them are obeyed, but different decisions were made along the way. Different decisions at the level of tiny microscopic particles, different decisions all the way up to what you chose to eat for lunch and whether you chose to come to this session or not. Quantum mechanics makes a very specific prediction that all of those are as real as the thing that you remember. And this is bizarre because we don't see those other things. But science has reached the point now where we can build machines that exploit those other worlds. And quantum computers are perhaps the most exciting of all of these that we have within or almost within our grasp right now. So people from a physics background love this. They want to understand the world. They want to understand the universe, how it all works. There's another type of person who tends to come from the computer science side that's like, yeah, okay, that's all great. But there's a different thing going on here, which is just as exciting, if not more, and that these machines that supposedly can do this wild stuff, let's forget about how they work, if you could build one, could solve problems that you could never, ever solve with any computer of the sort that we built. If you took every single atom of silicon in the world and made the most sophisticated conventional Intel-style processor that you could build, there are problems we know of that I could write down on a sheet of paper that you could never, ever, ever solve with that thing, that you could with this kind of machine. So that's very exciting. Humans use tools to do things.
Like I said, they use these quantum computers to figure out problems within a split second. Which scenario would be best to manipulate somebody? They play war games on this. And like I said, it's worth repeating. Every single person on this planet, this is plugged into the grid, meaning you've ever had a phone that you've ever had an iPhone or an Android, it's recorded everything you ever said. If you've ever been on the internet for anything, it knows everything you ever written. It knows anything that you have ever bought. It knows.
They have copies of everything we say, all of our emails, every phone conversation, and I've seen them give a demonstration to someone, yes, where they can stand there and print it out.
This is a problem, especially when We're going into the New World Order. And what they want to do is control every single human being on this planet. 15-minute cities, control your mind, control what you do, control what you eat, control where you go.
Yes.
So
Everything.
and that's after their depopulation plan, where they're going to kill, what is it, 3/4 of the planet of the human race? Is it 3/4
Yes.
or is it
The
half?
book of Revelation tells us that it will be three-quarters of the earth in all.
And on the guidestones, they said they wanted 500 million, and that's it.
Alive, yes.
And how many
they
people
want
in the
those,
world? Like 8 billion? What does
yeah.
it say?
They want people here that will cooperate with their agenda and to be their serfs, because it's the elite, those that believe they're elite.
And those that believe that they're elite, they're really just puppets of the fallen angels and their hybrid children.
Very
in my
much.
opinion.
Yeah. They are.
Yeah, that worship them. Yeah, like back
Yes.
in the day, in the Egyptian days, sacrificing their children to Moloch and things like that. So
Yes, sadly, they are deceived, and they believe that Lucifer is an equal being to Jesus, and that he will have his rightful place back, and that he is a being of light.
absolutely, that's what they believe. The illuminated one, the light
Yes.
bearer. That's who they
Yeah,
worship.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
If you give humans a new kind of tool that can do things that you couldn't otherwise do, imagine the possibilities. So you may think, well, this is all fine and dandy, but aren't these things in the realm of theory and speculation, kind of in the same regime as other futuristic things you may have heard of, which may be allowed by the laws of physics, but aren't here yet? That's not true. There are, in fact, many of these machines deployed now in openly available research centers following the model that was used to introduce supercomputers to the world.
Not only that, these supercomputers, there's one main one in the United States, I believe, but they have them all over the world that directly connects with the satellites. And I don't know if you guys have seen these little balls floating around all over the place. Well, those satellites talk to those things, and this is how they target people. But that's just a side note. We'll be doing more videos on that later.
They're too big and ornery and difficult to operate to put in your home. Too expensive also. But you can give them to a place which will manage them as a shared resource that will offer that service to the world. And there are two of these now. One of them is at the University of Southern California. And this analogy with flight, I think, is an interesting one. So a horse can beat, or could beat, the initial flight of the Wright brothers' flight in speed. But a plane is not a faster horse. A plane is a different kind of machine. The plane takes advantage of another thing, another resource that nature gives us, this third dimension, in order to do something that matters to people better that you could do with any horse. It doesn't matter how fast you make a horse, it will never fly, at least the kinds of horses that we know about. So these types of computers now are being thought of in the same way. They're not terrifically powerful yet, but they're doing something completely different than what your computer does. And that thing is like flight. It gives these computers access to these new resources, maybe you could call them parallel universes, in order to do something that you couldn't otherwise do. And that's not the only one. In fact, the one I'm going to come back to and talk to in the context of the story.
But all of this ties into the one world order.
Headed into the Great Reset, which is the New World Order, where they're bringing in their nets of control.
Story that I'm wrapping this in was recently installed at NASA. And Google was the primary interested party that pulled this whole thing together.
But they were.
And this one is really exciting.
What?
This all ties into their Luciferian agenda.
Oh,
for the last
absolutely.
day and the mark of the beast, and it's all coming together. Computers, the chip that they have, it all ties together with the D-Wave computers, with CERN, and it's coming together. They've worked on it for thousands of years, really, but it's
If you look
coming
at the last
together.
70 years, that was a complete plan. Like the last, where step by step by step by step, they knew their time was short. They knew that this was now the time that they were going to do it. So they moved faster in the last 50 to 70 years than they ever have. And we're now at a point where it's the Great Reset. They've had several resets, but this is the Great Reset. This is the last one.
Yes, and they're right. They're right at the doorstep of the mark of the beast, and they're pulling all of that together with the D-Wave computers,
Absolutely.
CERN, the telephones, all of it is it's all connected and smart things.
And they made it all for our convenience. Oh, you can, for shopping, connect to one another. What it was for was control. They control our minds with the media, the news, television. They've weeded God out of the school. They control what you think through the school system. They tell you what to believe. Instead of people, really reading and finding out things for themselves, they listen to what the mainstream tells them. And it directs people's, hate, the way you think, which side you're taking. It's all
Yes.
just a distraction from what they're doing up here.
But see, they pulled it all together too, even through Facebook and other social media. They've used it along with AI, along with
Yes.
psychology to get to manipulate humanity, people, into going the direction they want us to go, doing the things that they want us to do, and that we have actually, people have just fallen into that
Absolutely.
with where it's been leading without even knowing it. I mean, even the games that are on there are set up to be a distraction and also to learn about each one of us. They learn just like, any type of psychology, it can be used
Yes. For
yeah,
evil.
to know, yes, but it can also be used just like the way they use it for, say, a serial killer, so that they can tell, what time of day you'll do something, where you may go, what your habits are, the type of people you would be inclined to hang out with,
Yeah.
and just everything. So they're using all of that information and our pictures, and now it's to the point where
Our voice.
AI can pick up our voice, and it can be manipulated, and it can also take two or three of our pictures and pull it together and just use that and make it look like it's really the person they're speaking.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they can make it like it's lifelike. AI can.
And if you try to buck the system when they're really, really in the control, they have technology that will put an end to that fairly quickly. They've been testing it on people like myself for the last 20, 30 years, and it is no joke. When I say it's no joke, we're talking about a voice to skull technology. They
Sesame.
all kinds of mind control. They've been testing out these weapons of destruction on it could
Yes.
an entire building full of people, or it could be one person. The other thing I wanted to bring up, because Shelley just brought it up, is the mark of the beast.
Oh, the mark of the beast.
Also the microchip.
Yeah, the microchip.
So microchips, they've been testing out as well for many, many years.
Yes.
Long before these recent things they're talking about, that they're showing on TV. Oh, look, I can buy my food. I've got my ID on my hand too. I can just go to a vending machine. And my
I've also
history's on it. No. They've had this around, testing it on people for the last 30 years.
Yes, and I've seen them where they've demonstrated even using tattoos that grow into the skin or into the body. And it's another part of the mark of the beast system, but it
Absolutely.
is a, yeah, it's a tattoo, but it's a computer chip. It is a chip.
Out is applying this beautiful new computational idea in the service of trying to make intelligent machines. Now, I can't think of anything personally any cooler than trying to use quantum computers to build intelligent machines. So this is very exciting to me. Steve Jurvetson has been a longtime friend and investor in the company. And for those of you who don't know him, he's a Silicon Valley investor who's probably the smartest VC that I know of, and certainly the one that's the most attuned to technological trends. He's on the board of SpaceX, Tesla, Synthetic Genomics, which is Craig Venter's company, is trying to build artificial life, and D-WAVE, and that's it. And this is his particularly poetic way of framing the difference between the machines we build and conventional computers. This is what they look like. There are two of them. These are from our lab in Burnaby in British Columbia. From the outside, they look like giant black monoliths, big metal boxes, about 10 feet on a side, 12 feet tall. And they are powered, they have a fridge inside them, a refrigerator that cools these chips to almost absolute zero. Just a wisp, a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. Hundreds of times colder than interstellar space. Amongst the coldest and most isolated and extreme conditions that humans have ever been able to engineer. These fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines. At the heart of this big box is a tiny chip about the size of your thumbnail. And on this chip resides all of the wonder and magic that makes this thing go. I'm not going to describe in any mathematical detail how it all works, but let me give you an analogy. In quantum mechanics, there's this concept that a thing can exist in two states which are mutually exclusive at the same time, quote unquote. And I'm using those words because the English language was developed before we had concepts to describe what these things actually are doing. But I'm going to give you a roundabout way of understanding this. Imagine that there really are parallel universes out there. And now imagine you have two that are exactly identical in every respect, all the way out to the horizon as far as we can see, down to the last little atomic detail of every single thing, with only one difference. And that's the value of a little thing called a qubit on this chip, which is a contraction of quantum bit. And that qubit is very much like a bit or a transistor in a conventional computer. It has two distinct physical states, which we call 0 and 1 for bit. In a conventional computer, these are mutually exclusive. That device is either one or the other, never anything else. In a quantum computer, that device can be in this strange situation where these two parallel universes have a nexus, a point in space where they overlap. And when you increase the number of these devices, every time you add one of these qubits, you double the number of these parallel universes that you have access to, until such time when you get to a chip like this, which is about 500 of these bits, you have something like 2 to the 500th power of these guys living in that chip. So the way I think about it is that the shadows of these parallel worlds overlap with ours. And if we're smart enough, we can dive into them and grab their resources and pull them back into ours to make an effect in our world. Now, this may sound very odd to you and bizarre. And in fact, I am using language that a normal theoretical physicist probably wouldn't use. But this is what I'm telling you is absolutely correct and in line with the way that these things actually work.
Could that be what Einstein called spooky?
I would say so. And this is right in line with the stuff that I was talking about earlier. These are things people shouldn't be messy with.
Yes, and that chip he's showing looks just like the tattoo, basically.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
Dr. Robert Duncan put together the technology that enabled the powers that be to use V2K on millions of citizens, not criminals, but everyday citizens. Dr. Robert Duncan recently had an interview on Jesse Ventura's program. When I tried to air this footage, they banned me from including the footage within my video. He had a smug look on his face while showing no remorse as he talked about the techniques and horrible effects it has on humans. This is an in-your-face mockery of the humans they target and torture. Basically, he is saying, we have the power and there is nothing you can do about it. But they don't know my God. This is a very real technology. For more information, go to targetedjustice.com. There you will find details, including the patents on all the other torture techniques, including this one. They also use subliminal messaging on TVs, phones, and many other avenues for brainwashing and reprogramming targeted individuals. Program multiples, super soldiers known as the Chosen Ones by Russ Dizdar, referenced in his book The Black Awakening, as well as those of us who are victims of the Monarch Project and many other demonic projects of our shadow government. When that doesn't work, they scoop the victims up off the street or from within their homes and try to do a reset, or what I call reprogramming. There are many tactics they use. These are just a few. This needs to stop. Come, Jesus, come. When he does, they will be begging the rocks to fall on them while they hide in the underground bunkers they made for themselves while they enact their depopulation plan for the Great Reset. But when the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords shows up, there will be nowhere to hide. Repent now before it's too late.
Okay.
the voice to skull is the one I had that um it wasn't like a dream. I really thought it was happening. And I was calling on the Lord as saying, help me. I mean, this is real, because all of a sudden in my mind, it's like something took over it and it was a scream. And I couldn't get it to shut up and I couldn't get it to shut off. I couldn't get it to change. And I'm saying, but Lord, I don't know what to do here. I mean, I don't know what to do with this. How do I stop this? I
It
mean, I've
gets
got to stop
overwhelming.
this. I
Yeah.
mean, and I wasn't awake. And it's just like there was like some kind of staticky noise going across the screen or in the sound. And in the
It's
screen, it's got this red and white is all I can remember flashing back and forth through the. Oh, yes. And I'm saying this is real. This must be what happens to Chris. Is this what happens to Chris?
This is what happens to
Yeah.
Chris.
Yes. And I'm saying,
This is
Lord,
what
I
happens to
rebuke
Chris.
this. I rebuke this in the name of Jesus. And I mean, I'm just going through all of this in my mind. Just, it's like I'm supposed to be asleep. I'm thinking, is this a dream? Is this real? This doesn't seem like a dream.
Mm-hmm. And they get you to the point where you don't know whether you're really there or you're tied down to strapped down to a chair and they're making you see what they want you to see. That's how
Yes.
bad it can get. Most of the time, it's not that bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not that severe. They do attack your dreams. I have, like just a few minutes ago, I started feeling that and then it stopped.
Yes.
It's you're not really hearing it, you're feeling it. You're feeling the vibration from it because it's at a frequency
Yes.
you can't even hear.
Yes. It
And
wakes me up or I wake up that way.
and then they connect. Once they've connected, then they can put whatever they want in your head. But if you're smart and you've had this happen a few times, you're very, very aware. But it can be extremely overwhelming when they really crank it up.
Yes.
But
I-
let's just watch this clip. It tells us a little, give you a little bit of insight into what some of us, like Shelley and myself, have gone through. It's a nightmare for me. Now I'm just being attacked because of the information I'm putting out, and I'm writing a book. And
I believe that's why I'm
but when it started for me, it was about experimentation. They were fine tuning their weapons for decades. They're very, very good weapons. The
Hmm.
only thing that can defeat these weapons is the Lord Jesus Christ, the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit inside you, period. And even then, you're going to have a struggle. Not to say that God won't get you through, because he 100% will, but this is fallen angel technology. There's, like I said, there's nothing new under the sun. They've been doing this for a long time. We've now come to the Great Reset. You'll hear president after president saying it over the last 50 years. Okay.
Well,
And
it goes from New World Order to One World Order to the Green
Great
New Deal. They
Reset.
change it up. Yeah.
Well, those are their catchphrases,
Yeah.
and that's what that means.
God bless everyone. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Darkness, Lord Jesus, I am the devil's prey. So I beg of you, please just stay.